and around. I'm your Grandma Willow Tree. YouTube is not currency data for the street. If you believe, blah, 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 blah. I get that every time. It doesn't mean a thing. Anyway, I'm recording this. And I'm on Kick, and I'm on D-Live, and I'm on YouTube. So I'm not supposed to do anything that's going to create a problem with the music. The background music, you know? Let's see how it's working out. I might turn the volume down a bit. Until I go onto my website directly, I really don't know how the sound is. So, I'm a low budget, very low budget. And, what can I say? So let me find something else to flash on the screen to keep your attention. To be like an attention grabber, right? I'm working on it. I've been playing with some things. I ended up re-recording something I did on September 10th. You know, every time September 11th starts showing up, I worry. I think it was crazy. September and October. Anyway. Let me check things out. Yeah, I've been watching it all unfold. So I can play my own videos, right? If I play my own videos, I won't get slammed by the YouTube people. Right. Okay, so in that case, pretty much deleted all my copyright problems on the D-Live, so I mean not D-Live, on the whale watching. On the B channel, we love the B channel, along with the X channel. Notice how everything gets to be a alphabet soup. Well, I have to go to the lives because of the fact that I'm going to rebrand my channel, by the way. I decided to go with famous dead people. Highlight three men in my lifetime that have been amazing. I mean, as far as amazing, I mean they are creative, very charismatic. I think it's more like the charismatic part of it. I am going to be going to Hawaii, so when I'm going back to Hawaii, I am not going to do any more, I'm going to try to do some live.
I know I have 7 followers. Thank goodness.
And we're going to have some Victor Davis Hanson in the background. So that's the way that goes. I'm going to delete that. Beautiful ocean sounds, no ocean sounds, just Victor Davis Hanson in the background. Well, I will have the toad there too. I think it's a gecko. It's not really a toad, it's a gecko. The rise of anti-Semitism.
They threaten to invade almost daily Taiwan. They don't do any of that. It's only the Jews, the Jews, the Jews, the Jews.
Hello, ladies. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to the Victor Davis Hanson Show. I'm Jack Fowler, the host. Victor, though, is the star. He is the Margaret and Ely Anderson Senior Fellow at the Hoover Institution, the Wayne and Marsha Busby Distinguished Fellow in History at Hillsdale College, a man possessed of a website, The Blade of Perseus. Its address, victorhanson.com. Do go, check it out, do subscribe. $65 a year, $6.50 a month. Why would you do that? Because you're a fan of Victor. And twice a week he writes an exclusive article for the Blade of Perseus. Once a week he does an exclusive video. Victor's also does a daily video for the Daily Signal. You should check that out too. Victor, I forget already, did we mention the date? Sunday, September 14th. That's the day we're talking right now. And this particular episode will be up on Thursday, September 18th. Now we're going to begin the show talking about Jews. And we're going to do that when we come back from these important messages. We are back with the Victor Davis Hanson Show. Victor, we're going to start off the show with 2 stories about Jews and Israel. And here's the headline. Jerry Seinfeld slams Free Palestine movement, comparing it to historical hate group. Comedian Jerry Seinfeld compared the Free Palestine movement to the Ku Klux Klan during a surprise appearance this last week at Duke University, saying both groups don't like Jews. The Seinfeld creator attended a campus event for Omer Shem Tov, an Israeli hostage abducted by Hamas during the October 7th, 2023 terror attacks. Was held captive for 505 days. Seinfeld gave a brief introduction to Shem Tov before ridiculing anti-Israel activists, joking that at least the KKK was honest about their hatred for Jews. Free Palestine is, to me, just, you're free to say you don't like Jews. Just say you don't like Jews, Seinfeld said. By saying Free Palestine, you're not admitting to what you really think, he continued. So it's actually, compared to the Ku Klux Klan, I'm actually thinking the Klan is actually a little better here because they come right out and say, we don't like blacks, we don't like Jews, okay? That's honest. Yeah, he's...
I was surprised he said that. He's right that they both are hate groups, although I don't know if the Free Palestine people have yet started to hang people or lynch them or kill them. But he's got a point when you look at what the Free Palestine movement does. I mean, we saw at MIT where they rushed Jews. We saw at the Cooper Union University, remember, they were in the library and they were chased by kind of like it was like zombies. They were banging on the window to get in, and the Jewish kids were in the library. And then we had the former Stanford student, now Harvard Review, that when a Jew walked by, he pushed them. Remember that? He tried to. Then they gave him a special award. Harvard,
with money.
With money. I think it was $60,000. I may be mistaken. I'm doing this from memory.
Yep.
So
UCLA. Yeah.
UCLA, the same thing. They had to settle. So the university's attitude was, we're liberal, we can't be, and we have a lot of Jewish professors, so we can't be accused of being anti-Semitic. And the Jewish students are peaceful, and they don't cause us problems. But the Free Palestine people can be violent, and we're afraid of our job. So if we just favor them and give them what they want and let them harass Jews, we'll just sort of say it has nothing to do with Jewishness, it has everything to do with Israel. And that's what they've done. And then the Trump administration came in and started to call them to an account. One of the things Trump is doing, he's been talking the last 3 or 4 days about racketeering. And everybody thinks that's crazy and it's McCarthyism. But if you start thinking about it, and if you look at all of these Soros groups that were funding, Boudin, for example, in San Francisco, and these district attorneys and prosecutors that were letting people out. I'm not talking about them specifically, but that type of activity. And you can trace that they gave money to people who were violently in Antifa or things, and these people were targeting Jews. I say this because when you looked at the Columbia thing and a lot of these unrest, did you see that all of the blankets or the tents, or they were backpack, they all were the same, that they had been purchased. So if they could find out who was funding these groups, and if these groups had been violent, then I think they might have a point that somebody was funding violent semi-terrorist groups. We'll see if that's true.
Yeah.
But
my old colleague Bill McGurn at the Wall Street Journal used to say, RICO is for guys named Rico, but we should remember that the Supreme Court approved the use of RICO, the racketeering statutes, against pro-lifers. Pro-life.
They used it against Donald Trump. Fannie Willis did. Remember, she said that questioning an election was a racketeering charge. It was ridiculous. Which, by the way, just stream of consciousness, oh my, how they have fallen. Jack Smith is just sputtering around, trying to cover his tracks about his ill-fated prosecutions of Trump, that he got all of this free legal aid and that was not a gift. He didn't have to report it to the IRS. It wasn't a conflict of interest. Letitia James, it just keeps getting worse for her. She's going to be in trouble when she either lied about her properties, about her prime residence, which was what the person in the Federal Reserve apparently did. Then there's Fannie Willis, who's been in all sorts of trouble. The only one that has emerged so far, Alvin Bragg, and that's weird because his was the most egregious in many ways, taking a federal, bootstrapping it to nothing. But it's funny how the boomerang is coming around for them all.
Yeah, and what connects some of them, too, as you mentioned, Letitia James, and, oh my gosh, why can't I remember his name?
Which one?
Your senator, the one with the big head. Adam Schiff.
I thought he had a big neck, not a head.
Whatever. And then, and you go back to Chris Dodd, who used to be my senator here. This penchant for trying to lie about mortgages is just, it seems like one of their the
Especially
flames.
if they're on the Federal Reserve or they're the New York Attorney General. They're supposed to set a standard. And I think there's going to be a lot of reckoning, and the left's getting its talking points that this is a revenge tour, a Wyatt Earp revenge tour, this is retribution. But actually it's not. It's just going back and following the law. We were living in 4 years of lawlessness under Joe Biden. And the attack on ICE is because they're enforcing the law. 75% of the people that they're going after are either criminals or they're people with previous detention orders, and they didn't show up. So there should be no controversy about those people. One of them just tried to kill an ICE person, run him over. And they lower the bar on violence on that as well. The other thing that I saw recently, Jack, is that there's a number of officers who have gone on social media and they have cheered on the killing of Charlie Kirk. And some of them have said things about Trump. And of course, Article 88 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice says that officers are prohibited, not just while in uniform, but it has been interpreted, I think, judicially, to reply to retired officers. They are not to disparage the commander-in-chief, nor are they disparage, and it lists the cabinet officer. One of them has been attacking Mike Johnson. But when we got into this fascist stuff, it was Mark Milley who, during the campaign, remember, he said that Donald Trump was a fascist. He said that again and again and again. He was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. And then I don't know if he was referring to Trump when he was president or as ex-president. I'm not sure what he was. But General Kelly, who I admired, he'd lost a son in battle. It was a great American. He said, no doubt about it, he's a fascist. General McCaffrey, while Trump was president, said he was Mussolini while he was president. We went about General Hayden, remember the director of the CIA, Air Force General, he put pictures of Buchenwald, Auschwitz, on there and said Trump was using these techniques as if he was a jailer at Auschwitz. I really like Admiral McRaven. I've always liked him. He's a patriot, but he should not have written 2 op-eds saying that Donald Trump should be removed sooner the better from office when we had scheduled elections. I won't go into some of the people who are my colleagues who've said these things, but my point is nobody enforced that. So I think what you're going to see is this administration is going to enforce the Uniform Code. There's people who've talked about it, and it's been on social media. So if you're an officer and you think you're going to go in and say Trump is a fascist and a Nazi, and you publicize those views, you're going to be subject to court-martial under Article 88. And it's not going to be retribution. It's going to be long overdue, because you cannot have a military when you have freelancing officers of high rank who take people into battle, who say that their commander-in-chief is a Nazi or a fascist. It's not sustainable.
Yeah. Fascist doesn't mean a fascist. Fascist is I'm a political equivalent, I guess, of racist. But what is a fascist, Victor? Like, what
I can
is?
tell you what a fascist is. A fascist is a person who either assumes power through an election or by unlawful means, and then tries to promulgate a nationalist extreme agenda as a way of extra legally operating the government and punishing enemies and opponents extra legally. So if they say Donald Trump was a fascist, then he took power either illegally or once he was in, he destroyed the mechanisms of power. So empirically, all you who call him fascist, he's been the subject of a number of lower court decisions. I don't think that he's ignored them. He's appealed every one of them to the circuit, and he's been stayed. They turned a plane around in midair. So he's following judicial orders. I don't think he's spying on his enemies, Joe. I don't think he's doing that in the way that Hillary Clinton did or Joe Biden kind of did with the 51 intelligence. He has not weaponized the I know you don't like Kash Patel, you out there on the left, but it's not like he's going after parents at school board meetings. He's not going after traditional Catholics. He's not going after his enemies. And we know that the head of the intelligence agencies are not told to lie, and they did lie under oath. Brennan at least twice and Clapper once. James Comey pled amnesia 245 times. Kevin Kleinsmith forged a document, FISA document. He's not done any of that. They have done that to him with the lawfare, the Bragg crazy suit, the James. The Fannie Willis, the Jack Smith, and the E. Jean Carroll were all travesties and warping of the legal system. Trump hasn't done that. He hasn't taken the legal system. John Bolton's not in jail. John Bolton is just simply, they didn't reopen the John Bolton case. They got information that a foreign intelligence agency had tapped his emails, and the emails allegedly revealed things that might have been classified, and they're investigating them. And if it was not true, he will not be prosecuted. But I don't understand the people who tried to destroy the legal system, whether it's letting in 12 million illegal aliens, call somebody a fascist who's trying to restore it, and legally deporting people. Legally deporting people. So I don't get that.
Yeah. Victor, one of our listeners, fans, etc., Julian Arceo, ARCEO, emailed me asking for your comments about Hollywood A-listers signing a petition to support the boycott of Israeli film institutions. And these A-listers include Emma Stone, Olivia Colman, Mark Ruffalo, Susan Sarandon, several thousand, by the way, including other Hollywood workers. And there's an article from Fox News that says, inspired by filmmakers united against apartheid who refused to screen their films in apartheid South Africa, we pledge not to screen films, appear at, or otherwise work with Israeli film institutions, including festivals, cinemas, broadcasters, and production companies that are implicated in genocide and apartheid against the Palestinian people. The pledge, this is the pledge several thousand of these chooches have signed. Paramount, by the way, told them this is crap. Paramount has derided these signers. And Victor, I don't know, it just reminds me, if this was a storefront, these people would have painted. They'd be painting Juden on the
Yeah, I
stores.
just don't know what their standards are. Are they saying that they're not going to participate in any film that is merchandised in China, where people harvest organs from live people, and there's 1 million Uyghurs in work camps, labor camps, or maybe not, you can even call them concentration camps? Do they object to that? Are they saying, you know what, we're not going to work with Turkey because they illegally occupy northern Cyprus. We're just not going to do it. And the Armenian people have been ethnically cleansed from Azerbaijan, 250,000 of them. We are not working with anybody there, given what they've done to the Armenian people. We are not dealing with China because they threaten to invade almost daily Taiwan. They don't do any of that. It's only the Jews, the Jews, the Jews, the Jews. So I don't know what is wrong with the Hollywood left. I'm not a part of it. I don't know them, but I have a feeling I could guess what it is. And that is they feel that the majority culture, maybe not of the producers or the investors, but the majority culture of directors and fellow actors, the people and agents who get people jobs, feel that it is a culture custom to attack Israel. And if you do that, you are accepted. And if you don't do that or you support it, then you're ostracized. So like sheep, like the 51 intelligence authorities or the 200 economists, that's what they do. It's a career move. If you ask any of those actors, could you please explain what started the 73 war? Could you please explain how many people were killed on October 7th and why it happened? They couldn't. They couldn't at all. Could you ask them, why didn't Hamas carry out one election after its first? Why did Hamas liquidate the Palestinian Authority rivals? Who withdrew from Gaza and turned over the entire country to the Palestinians for free elections, which they did. They immediately voted for Hamas. One election, one time, never again. It's a dictatorship. That's a fascist dictatorship, by the way, because it persecutes people by their ethnic and religious affiliations. It's a typical fascist organization. And yet they champion it. They love Hamas. So when you say Hollywood actors, there's Netflix, there's Amazon streaming, there's Hulu, there's Sling. There's so many different things going on now that the whole movie audience is so fragmented. I see all these people on the internet and they say, wow, the star of this, the star of... I don't even know. I've never heard of them. I've never seen them. But the big movie, I'm Robert De Niro, I'm Cher, I'm Barbara Streisand, I say this, Mark Ruffalo. I don't, you know that they're either out of it or they don't have a market anymore, or there's so many stars now and so many, it's just fragmented. They're like professors. There's thousands of professors. So when they find some obscure nut who loves the, violence, and he's cheering, he's at Michigan. There was an education guy in Michigan that says how wonderful Charlie Kirk was to be killed. You think, well, who are you? I mean, you're just a dime a dozen careerist who's trying to get famous for a second so you'll get another fellowship from the Gates Foundation. Come on. And that's what it is. I mean, Hollywood and the big movie studios. Maybe the other thing I think they should be very careful. Larry Ellison is, I guess last week he was the richest man in the world.
For a day, yeah.
For a day.
Have you come across him?
Yes, I have. I was at a institutional dinner, and he was there.
For a day.
And he flew all the way out to speak to us. And he's 81?
I guess he can sell the island.
He looks
and
about
might be the
60.
richest man again for another day.
That was when I had the worst of this infection. And I walked in when he walked in. And I took my seat. I was kind of near him, too, in the front row and at a table. And he was so much more, I thought, wow, I want to be 81 like him. But my point I'm making is that when he was asked questions from the audience and the interlocutor, they were the kind of questions you think you would expect to predict. Are you worried about the United States? What's your views on the Trump administration? And it was just incredible. He just stunned everybody. I wish I was younger. We are on the start of a renaissance. We have never seen people in Silicon Valley get rid of their billions in capital, and they are investing in robotics, they are investing in drones, they are investing in artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, cryptocurrencies, many nuclear plants, electric generation. They are creating a flood of foreign investment coming in here, $10, trillion. This is going to be the most exciting renaissance since the Industrial Revolution. And then he got into, somebody who was with a military background said, do you see a role for pilotless aircraft? He said, can a pilot do 9 Gs? Barely. He said a drone with its same size plane can go 19 Gs. So he said, we're going to see things in avionics, naval warfare we've never seen before. And we're going to ensure that the United States is the preeminent. And he said, I can guarantee you there's been a change of heart in Silicon Valley. I wrote an article about the War Production Board of World War II that Trump was kind to enlist people who originally didn't like him. Larry Ellison was always very empirical. He wasn't hard left at all. I think he gave to both campaigns for a while. But now he's decidedly in the Trump campaign, and his son, I think, isn't he acquiring CBS and Paramount?
And allegedly putting Barry Weiss in some
I have a feeling that the CBS anchors.
Okay, so I am going to stop this interview. This is the Charlie Kirk post show, I guess you could say. Charlie Kirk's memorial service is going to be held this Sunday in Arizona at some big stadium. It's going to be massive. I have no idea how it's going to shake the world, but the world is just trembling right now. I'm not sure who he was talking about. I'm sorry I missed the fact he said that there was an interview. I don't know if that was Trump they were interviewing. I hate to go back and redo this, but I kind of got involved in other things and didn't hear what he was saying. I'm going to go back just a little bit. Bear with me a minute.
Maybe the other thing I think they should be very careful. Larry Ellison is, I guess last week he was the richest man in the world.
For a day, yeah.
For a day.
Have you come across him?
Yes, I have.
All right, we're talking about Larry Ellison here. I'm going to back it up a little bit so we can re-listen to that, or I can re-listen to it. I missed it. And I got me there and feeding my face, and I'm kind of bored with me feeding my face. So I'm going to, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, I don't know, I probably can't do that because of the fact that I have, I'm on the B channel right now. I'm doing live on the B channel, and sure as shoot, if I try and play something else, I probably will get tagged. So I think what we'll do is we'll find something else besides me feeding my face. I think that's pretty much the way it is. Let's try the visual melodies, and I will mute it. We'll just have the C in the background. As we're celebrating the world in Hawaii. Getting ready to go. All right, let's see here. Back to Victor Davis Hanson talking about Larry Ellison.
I was at a institutional dinner, and he was there. And he flew all the way out to speak to us. And he's 81? 80? He looks about 60. That was when I had the worst of this infection, and I walked in when he walked in. I took my seat. I was kind of near him, too, in the front row, and at a table, and he was so much more, I thought, wow, I want to be 81 like him. But my point I'm making is that when he was asked questions from the audience and the interlocutor, they were the kind of questions you think you would expect to predict. Are you worried about the United States? What's your views on the Trump administration? And it was just incredible. He just stunned everybody. I wish I was younger. We are on the start of a renaissance. We have never seen people in Silicon Valley get rid of their billions in capital, and they are investing in robotics, they are investing in drones, they are investing in artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, cryptocurrencies, many nuclear plants, electric generation. They are creating a flood of foreign investment coming in here, 10, 12 million, $1 trillion. This is going to be the most exciting renaissance since the Industrial Revolution. And then he got into, somebody who was with a military background said, do you see a role for pilotless aircraft? He said, Can a pilot do 9 Gs? Barely. He said a drone with its same size plane can go 19 Gs. So he said, we're going to see things in avionics, naval warfare we've never seen before. And we're going to ensure that the United States is the preeminent. And he said, I can guarantee you there's been a change of heart in Silicon Valley. I wrote an article about the War Production Board of World War II that Trump was trying to enlist people who originally didn't like him. Larry Ellison was always very empirical. He wasn't hard left at all. I think he gave to both campaigns for a while. But now he's decidedly in the Trump campaign, and his son, I think, isn't he acquiring CBS and Paramount?
And allegedly putting Barry Weiss in some
I have a feeling that the CBS anchors may be going home.
Heads are exploding.
And I think some of the actors will not be getting, and I think he's setting a trend that there are people now in Silicon Valley. It's not just old Peter Thiel that they beat up on all the time so unfairly because he's such a nice guy and he's so smart. But I think they're starting to see, gosh, maybe we have Bloomberg, maybe we have Gates still, but my gosh, what they used to call them brilliant when they were giving billions of dollars to the left, but now they're oligarchs. They think they've lost Bezos and the Washington Post. They've lost Elon. They may have lost Zuckerberg. They've lost David Sachs. They've lost Ellison. They're losing all of these people because these people look at these crazy people in their corporations that come out of Stanford or Berkeley and Silicon Valley, and they go to HR, they complain, they boycott things, they try to subvert, and
Yeah, so let's have a
Mark Andreessen said that. He outlined it in an interview. And then the Biden administration thought that they can control these people. It said, okay, give all the money to us like Sam Bankman-Fried, and then you can do it. We won't regulate you. We won't regulate you. You do artificial intelligence. Here's your monopoly. Here you Google. You guys do this. And now Trump will protect you from those crazy Europeans that want to regulate you and censor. We will protect you from the Chinese that want to steal everything from you. But you got to do one thing in turn. You can do whatever you want, but you got to invest in the United States. You got to create jobs here, and you got to put your investments here. And that was a message I think that they accepted, that Trump, as far as they were concerned, was laissez-faire. As long as they were patriotic and tried to help other Americans by giving them good jobs and improve the infrastructure and the quality of life. And I think that's why they're relieved right now. I mean, Trump does not hold a grudge. Mark Zuckerberg paid these various foundations $419 million to destroy Donald Trump in 2020 election. I saw him sitting right next to Donald Trump laughing at that table where they had the tech people in. I thought, wow. And then I've seen him with Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, Washington Post, thought Trump was a monster. So Trump they all think he carries grudges. He's transactional. That's why people like Steve Bannon and the core people criticize him a lot, because they feel that he's not a purist. Because he's transactional. He operates within the boundaries of MAGA, but he's fluid within those boundaries.
He may
nationalist.
He may forgive, but I think the people that work for him, if you have one tweet from 2015 that is anti-Trump, you are not getting a job in the Trump administration. Hey, anyway, Victor, when we come back from these important messages, I have to tell you the bad news. We're going to be talking about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I'm sorry, Victor, but we'll get to that when we come back.
Are you ready to move east?
Okay, so we're gonna jump over the commercials. I'm not getting any money off of this.
We are back with the Victor Davis Hanson Show, talking on Sunday, the 14th of September, and this episode is up on Thursday, the 18th. Victor is in the People's Republic of Palo Alto, up there doing some Hoover-y stuff. Victor, what did I do with my notes here? Let's start off with Joe Biden. Well, all I need to say is Joe Biden. Oh, you heard it. Biden Presidential Library facing fundraising problems from reluctant Democrat donors. I won't read the article here out loud, but Victor, nobody wants to pony up for this.
Well, let's say that you're John S. Smith and Biden calls you up, or the family. Would you please give us $10 million, $20 million for the John S. Smith library section of the new Biden library? and you would say, we gave you all this money, and you had $1 billion.
Yeah, we
And
gave
then
lots
you
of money to
had that
Mr.
debate,
Biden.
and we told you to step down, but you didn't step down for a month or more. And when you did step down, you got this mediocre candidate. You didn't open it up. Then we heard that she got $1 billion, and she was paying everybody from Beyonce to Cardi B to Al Sharpton, and they were renting jets, and they went through it like that, and they lost. And I spent all this money. And you know what? I'm just being hypothetical as John Smith. And I also gave money to that awful monolith in Chicago, the Obama Library. And I was told that this was going to be a model library. That was 10 years ago. You went in and destroyed a beautiful park. You told me it was all going to be DEI hires only. The cement is cracking. It's all substandard. It's ugly. And it's not even open. Where's my money? Where's my Obama library? Where's the John Smith wing? It's not even done. And so now you're going to compete without a...
I love the way that Victor always goes on with this little tangent about, yeah, they said this. I mean, he will get into the heads of these people and react their reactions. He's reacting to their reactions, but he's assuming this is what their reactions are. He's just reading what he's interpreting his view of life is, which is pretty awesome. He's down to earth. He's my age, by the way. I have a crush on him. No, not really. I love my husband. Oh, I love my husband more. And anyway, but he's been international. He's lived times in Europe. He's studied the classics. He's a historian. And he's a farmer. And he knows what it's like to try to plow the earth and make a living on land. He's done a lot. So he gets my utmost respect. So anyway, just wanted to give my 2 cents there.
Ugly monolith with Joe Biden, who was probably the worst president, and lost all my investment in him. I'm not going to give you anything. Go get the Chinese, get Hunter, put him on a plane, and let him go to Ukraine and Romania and China. Hunter, here it is, man. You've got a pardon now. Just don't, shake down people. Don't go back to Mr. Cho or the guy Mr. Ho or whatever his name was that you had tipped off that if he came here, he'd be indicted. But get on the phone and get the big man and Mr. 10% in the room. That's what they're thinking. They're not going to raise any money.
There will be no Biden library. I wonder what's become of those, the Biden Center at Penn or the
Washington, D.C. Yeah, there's one there.
One at the University of Delaware.
Well, put it this way. If you were an academic and
with Obama, make it the Obama
you put
Bible
all of your
library.
laurels there, would you want to
That's what I
say
did.
the Joe Biden
Right next
Center
to Bob.
Fellowship for
Hey, Obama.
Presidential Study? No.
I got an
It's the one thing
idea.
about academics.
You and Biden have your
I'm
library
reviewing an
combined.
academic book, and this person is
Because you're our
blasting the rat race of academia and how white people create all of these fellowships and titles and degrees to alienate the other, and that they're so obsessed with hierarchies of race. And then you look at his bio, and it's all about, I won this and I won that and I got this degree and here's this book. And then you look at the bibliography, it's not published stuff, it's forthcoming, in progress, Academics all talk about how silly honors are, and then they're like Hollywood stars. I don't really care if I get the Academy. And then they get on the phone, is there any chance you can call that guy up on the thing? And the only guy that really didn't care about it, and he could, was Marlon Brando. He didn't show up. But the best one was George C. Scott. He just said, I think I know what I did. You don't need to tell me what I did. I'm kind of tired. I'm drinking a lot. I'm going to stay home.
He's a great actor, by the way.
That was one of the best performances as Patton anybody's ever done. That was just a work of genius.
Actually, Dr. Strangelove, too, comedic. It was...
Oh, man. He's just... He was... there's about 5 actors like that. You know, one of them is Gary Oldman. When Churchill or any of those nutty vampires, anything he plays. Another one is one of my favorites is Denzel Washington. When I look at him in that movie Man on Fire, did you ever see that?
No, the plane. Is that the plane?
No,
movie?
not that one. He's down in Mexico as a security guard, and this young girl he's protecting is kidnapped, and it's when Christopher Walken has that famous line, you know, everybody painters to a masterpiece in their field, and he said, Creasy's field is death, and he's about ready to paint his masterpiece. And then he goes after all the cartel people that have kidnapped her. He's just a brilliant actor. Gary Oldman, George C. Scott, oh my gosh, all those guys. Even certain people in my growing up, there was something about Henry Fonda and Jimmy Stewart, those roles they played. Gary Cooper wasn't a great actor, but man, when he got on that quiet screen and he just looked at you and he took over he's like John Wayne. They weren't classic great actors, but they just took over the whole screen.
You know, it's interesting, The Fountainhead with him and...
That was a great movie.
Yeah, Raymond Massey, who was also kind of a little stiff like Cooper was stiff. Yeah. But then they had Patricia Neal between them, and gosh, I loved her. Everybody said she was going to die. Remember, she had a stroke and then she lived for like 40 years. Yeah, she's somewhat of a conservative too.
Yeah, she was really good in Barefoot in the Park. She was the older patron of. I don't know. There's some America. Usually the English have the best actors, but man, when you see a great American actor. There were periods when Paul Newman, when you look at Hombre and stuff, he was a great actor too.
He was.
Not like George C. Scott or Gary Oldman or...
No. Robert Mitchum also.
He was a good actor. He had a certain role. When they knew what that type of role, Humphrey Bogart, that type of role, Clark Gable.
I want to make a moment here to acknowledge another actor that I found to be extremely talented, and they just mentioned him, Robert Redford, and he just passed away. So Godspeed to Robert Redford. Man, I can only remember him in the best movie that I can remember is The Sundance Kid. Robert Redford and Paul Newman. Excellent movie. Check it out. Okay, you movie guys. Showing some good movies on D Live. Not sure how long that's going to last because of the copyright rules and laws, but more power to y'all.
That type of role. But George C. Scott could play anything. So can Gary Oldman. So can Denzel Washington.
You mentioned Henry Fonda. I was talking about him the other day with my daughter, the Oxbow incident, which is just one of the great films. And he was, I'm not the greatest Henry Fonda fan, but he was like really good in that. I recommend that.
He was spooky in Once Upon a Time in the West.
That's
a classic. Every time I see that movie, I see new intricacies in it. That was a brilliant Sergio Leone movie.
Oh, the beginning of that, they end up, I don't want to give it away to anyone who's watched, but too bad. They kill a family, right?
Yeah, they kill a family. And
they kill a boy.
They kill out there. That was Charles Bronson's best movie ever made.
Oh,
he plays the harmonica. That was also. It was just a really great movie, and I think Henry Fonda was a great actor, and so was Jimmy Stewart in certain roles. And I don't see that type of.
I agree.
Actor today.
Yeah,
I don't.
Well, I'll tell you know who's an actor, by the way, Victor? Kamala Harris. So, so here's the headline: Kamala Harris stumbles onto the truth. She's a whiny liar, and this is Isaac Shore, who used to write at National Review, but he had an op-ed in the New York Post the other day. In a preview of her new presidential campaign memoir, What Happened 107 Days, the former VP threw her one-time boss under the bus in no uncertain terms, recalling the inter-party panic during the final months Biden's re-election campaign last year. Harris wrote, "It's Joe and Jill's decision. We all said that like a mantra as if we had all been hypnotized. In retrospect, I think it was recklessness." She concluded the stakes were simply too high. This wasn't a choice that should have been left to an individual's ego, an individual's ambition. Victor, your thoughts on whiny Kamala Harris author?
Because she's whiny and incompetent doesn't mean that she can't be right. And she was right about that. When he stepped down, remember, we've talked about that, I think. Joe Manson just jumped up and hit the talk shows and said, "I'm here. Hey, everybody, I'm here. We're going to have an open convention. You need a moderate." He was absolutely right. And they squashed that in 2 seconds. And they put her in there. And that was the Black Caucus, basically. A lot of the ranking black members in the House said, "No way are you taking a proud black woman who's been vice president and shunning her aside." They weren't going to shun her aside. They just said, "We're going to have an open 30-day primary, something like that among the delegates." She had run for president in 2020. She pulled out before the first Iowa caucuses. She was completely incompetent. She didn't win a single delegate. And so I don't know why she's whining, because they anointed her that. And I guess she's whining that he ran for a second term. She has a good point. If he hadn't have run, they might have done better if they had not nominated her, because she was not going to win. They had a very good strategy. I thought that their strategy was, well, we picked her in August and we've just got to run out the clock. We've got half of August and we got, September, October, and for 75 days, can we hide the fact that she can't speak and she's incoherent? Well, let's not give I think it was about 40 days she didn't give an interview. And then it was, can we hire a bunch of guys to interview her and pay them nicely like Oprah or Al Sharpton? And, and she went, and then she went on The View, and, Sunny Hostin was trying to, according to script, you just ask a off-script question, where do you differ from Joe Biden? Duh. So
that was a dagger. That was a dagger.
Everybody said she beat Trump in the one debate. It was only because she had a bunch of canned answers and she just plugged them in whether the question required them or not. It was like...
she did push his button.
Yes, she did. It was sort of like, well, what do you think about fracking? I'm really for the border.
Okay, so I am going to probably not play the rest of this, but if you're interested, you can finish watching it on the B channel, and That's that. So by the way, let's see what kind of music I have on this. I can play out the music maybe. And if I have to delete my live stream on the B channel, so be it. Actually, I'm not crazy about this one. It's canned. I don't like canned Hawaiian music. But I probably won't get in trouble for playing it because it's canned. So I got this idea. Wait a minute. We gotta stop it right now. Stop. Okay, there we go. Because it's gonna flip over to something else I don't want to watch. All right, so we're on an interruption time. I think I'm gonna do taking a break. First of all, we'll do this. We'll do the subscribe. Well, I'm still here though, so we can do this while I take a break. I mean, I'm not taking a break. I should take a break. Well, I already ate. Actually, I was eating breakfast earlier. Now it's lunchtime. Get all my meals at one time. All right, let me find us another view, or maybe I should just go ahead and end my B string, and then I can get into my three dead guys that I happen to really appreciate the fact that we still have video of them. I just have to say that I did not appreciate Charlie Kirk when he was alive. There were a lot of things that I didn't agree with him on, but he was a young man who spoke his heart, and he had a lot of charisma. So this is dedicated to there's a name, but anyway, performers with charisma. Now, I think that he was a performative artist. Watching some of the videos of him now, his facial expressions, his facial tics, his facial, he exuded so much sincerity. I think he was really sincere. I just didn't know him enough. But anyway, let's find something for us. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close out the B channel, because I don't have any viewers anyway. Thank you, everybody, for checking me out when you get the chance. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. If I've offended you, I apologize for that, but not really. I mean, come on. Words are not violence. Silence is not violence. Just get over it. Get over all that crap. Let's focus on positive vibes. Positive vibes. Okay, so see you later.